Happened in the 90s.
Oh, brother, now I've seen it all.
What's that?
They gave the ferret a teleprompter.
Teleprompter? Well, I guess he can't memorize his lines, huh?
Memorize his lines. The guy's a door jam. I don't know why they give him so much slack.
Well, it's because he's got a good look.
A good look?
Yeah, look at him. He looks like a little European filmmaker.
I had a good look.
Louis, no lizard, has a good look.
What are you talking about?
We're not a good-looking species.
We're not. You have no pride, Frank.
I simply know my limitations.
I am classically chiseled.
Nothing more exciting. Like now, I know you can't even get a fucking PS5, but the cost, like what does a PS5 actually cost? See, if you can get one in a store, what is it? $600?
Is it still at 6? I can't remember, man. I thought it was chopped down to 3, but
A PS5, you can't even get them shits.
it's been what, 2 years now?
I mean, like, so I mean, there's just none to have. I guess, like they say, what are they called? Scalpers. Like people buy a shit ton so they can just sell them on eBay at a jacked up price. I guess that's why. I don't know why, but back in the day, there was none of that. You might have to wait like a week. Yeah, well, hey, I still got that, dude. I got a fucking GameCube. I went back in time, so I just said fuck it. I don't even know if I'm gonna get a PS5, but I just remember. Like the barrier of entry back in the day wasn't, if it was 600, I would never play a fucking video game, Steve.
Fuck no. 200.
200.
That was,
I mean, that was a lot, dude.
That was the standard.
I remember when I actually bought my own system. I mean, that was a tough get. 200 and a controller and a game. I mean, that's 300 at least. To a little
the
kid.
first, fuck yeah. I mean, but the standard was 200, and that was like freshly released, like just hit the market. 200. It was like Nintendo brand new 200, Sega brand new 200, and I think it might have been actually 150 for Sega. I can't remember, man, but I know it wasn't no fucking six.
Though six. That's a fucking half. That's half of some people's rent. I mean, that's everyone's rent in some cases. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Yeah. You can't even get them. So I only say, like, I remember the excitement of those new systems, and to remember what we were excited about, dude. Like, I remember playing like Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, that shit that you could play at the arcade, but you got to play it at home. And it was like, this is the greatest experience of my life. And now you play like Red Dead Redemption and actually live like a virtual life it just looks like you're playing a real life person. You know, it's crazy.
You could superimpose your face on characters and shit, man. Just like, I mean, the 2Ks, like in the 2Ks, I mean, I do it. They don't do an exact detailed job of it, man. It's like close enough.
I can't get into fucking 2K. I hate to start this off on a video game discussion, but it seems the controls seem shitty, Steve.
For 2K,
I want to enjoy it, but every time I try to pick it up, I played it back in the day when we were in college. I was good at it, but it seems like they fucked the controls up in some way where maybe I just need to play a training mode and actually figure it out a little bit more. But it always seems like jittery and shit. I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, I wasn't used to the configuration at first, man, because it does require some joystick involvement. Where I was used to just mashing buttons, but yeah, dude, you're a veteran at this video game shit, man. Yeah, all it takes is a couple go rounds, and before you know it, you'll be like knee deep in like 5 seasons.
I like to play a sports game with somebody who's physically in the room with me. You know, when you're shit talking.
Everybody I know is like that. Why do y'all want to play with other people?
I don't know, man.
Give me
it's just more
people.
fun. Like the whole season thing, it's fine. But that's more for me. Like I associate that with like a football game. And I'm not into Madden anymore. But I remember back in the day, that shit was, especially that the NC. We talked about this, the NCAA, when you got to do that shit.
Shit, remember I played your game. This was your Madden. I was playing that shit like it was my Madden. I was like 25 seasons. I was the wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. It was me and Marvin Harrison on the other
You
side.
had a killer squad. I remember there was like 90-point games, I believe. There was a lot of like blast outs.
I loved it.
That shit was fun, dude.
Was that for N64? I want to say it
I think
was.
that was GameCube. Actually, you know what, Steve? No, it wasn't. That was PlayStation 2. I had PlayStation.
It was PlayStation 2. That's what it was. Yeah. Because if it was GameCube,
we
played
NBA Street on that shit too. Shout out to NBA Street and NFL Street, two games that please bring them back.
Yeah, I was cool with the NBA Street, the NFL Street. I was like, I know all of it's unrealistic, but the NFL Street, it was like,
It was like NFL Blitz, though. Remember that game?
Yeah, and I wasn't a fan of Blitz. It's like, damn, it's bad enough I'm losing. You got power drive me and me too.
Yeah, that definitely added to like the intensity. But I mean, in a good Madden rivalry, like especially when me and Jordan would play, or me and anyone really, they would inevitably pick like a Michael Vick team, and I would play the Steelers. And there was just like some of those games you couldn't beat Michael Vick in Madden for a while, so it was just it was unstoppable.
From like 02 to maybe like Pitbull Gate. You couldn't beat Vic in any of those fucking Maddens, man.
He would just something would happen. I mean, I feel like everybody that's played Madden and has known like the rage that you get when you're losing one of those, like they've said it. We've all said it, how there's like glitches in Madden where it's like, oh, of course, this guy's going to heave up a fucking pass and tie the game and all this stuff. It seems like, you know, things happen that shouldn't happen in Madden. I think we can all universally say. So, I can't stand it, Steve. I can't stand playing it now. And at least when it's somebody in the room, you can like punch them in the arm or something and like at least get a little aggression out. But when it's like a little kid fucking you up, he's just annihilating you in Madden, and it just causes a rage that it's unfathomable, Steve.
Yeah, I caught a couple Matt Geddick punches, man. After fucking.
Dude, I started rage punching my leg at a certain point because it was like that's not cool to hit your friend, but you gotta let the demons out, Steve. And Madden,
I get it.
You know, it causes a lot of emotional scars. There definitely were days where I couldn't talk to my roommates for a while because you know shit got heated. But
dude, any video game player can relate, man. I mean, with me, I prefer story mode and playing against a fucking computer. But shit,
me too now for sure. But dude, remember GoldenEye, dude? Remember fucking GoldenEye, bro? A good 4-player GoldenEye.
See, I think that was my first lesson that, like, Steve, you're not about this multiplayer life. And this was before online play. I never was the best. Like, I always would get canned the first, like one of the first to go in those little fatal 4-ways, you know, and it's like, you know what, I'm better off doing story mode shit. That's your lane, Steve.
But that being said, like you pull up a Def Jam, a wrestling game, a THQ wrestling game, and Steve's right in there.
Okay, perfect example. Okay, there's an example right there.
You're right in there. I remember that. I mean, those games. See, that's the thing I miss. Because I feel like everybody like you get to do that bullshit bowling game and everything. It was like kind of a party game system almost. But dude, N64 in its heyday, when you had like GoldenEye or you had those wrestling games, and it was if you had 3 other buddies, there were days where that's all that was happening, like just fucking hours long GoldenEye sessions.
And was that THQ? I want to say it was
GoldenEye.
No, the wrestling.
Yeah, all those wrestling games with that control system that we all know and love, with like the holding a button and then you grab them or you punch them. Yeah, that was all THQ, and that shit was fire. They need to just bring it back. I don't get why we got to make it look all crazy like WWE 2K, because my nephew had that shit and I played it. It's trash.
You didn't like it? Which one did you play?
I feel like it was 2K20. And, I don't know these wrestlers that much, but I just felt like it played like shit. And I just remember those THQ games, like they might not look great, like when you look at them, but I mean, goddamn, were they just fucking deep, fucking fun, and also easy to pick up.
Yeah.
Like you could go from stone cold and not know shit about it, and you'd be like 2 hours in, right then and there, like right there with everybody else. So I love that shit.
Because it was the same format for each wrestler. They would just have a different move. Like you grapple and then you do this, or when they're on the ground, you do like a ground grapple.
Yeah, you just had to like figure like they had little specialties, like Chris Jericho had a cool little kick that he would do that I would always utilize that definitely helped you if you knew how to time it right. It was all that shit. Like the controls were all the same, but you can figure out ways like certain guys to do different things and shit. But that's what I'm saying. I like playing with people in the room. I don't like the online shit because that arena, I suck ass. And all like Call of Duty Warzone, just fucking annihilation. I can't do shit in that game.
And you're getting owned by an 8-year-old on top of that.
I mean, I remember one time, like when it first came out, when I became aware of the fact that it was just free and you could just play, if you had PlayStation Online, you could just play that shit, so I downloaded it and got into it for a little bit. But I remember like there were certain situations where I actually would like try to like put my like an earbud in and listen to what they actually are saying. And inevitably, like I just quit because I'd hear some kid like, what is this fucking dumbass doing? It'd be me like trying to do some shit in the game, but just failing miserably at it. So it's over. I know I'm not the best, but there's like I have Def Jam Vendetta on GameCube. I will fuck you up in that game. There's like muscle memory in that shit.
Oh yeah. Some things you just don't forget, man.
Oh, video games, Steve. We love you guys. We love you, N64 and PlayStation 4. Just please stay alive as long as possible because I think it's my last video game system. $600. I don't know if I can buy that.
It won't be 600 forever.
You say that, Steve.
Because they got to make the PS6. And before you buy the PS6, you got to get the PS5. They're not going to get the PS5 when it's still at $600. Got to drop it so that you can make the PS6 $600.
I mean, we got to move on, but before we do, I just want to ask: have you done the VR shit? Because that's one thing I haven't done. Where I've been interested, like with the PlayStation. Like, what is it like? What's it like?
I did a sample of that shit the last time I was in Los Angeles with Bill that you met, man, who's from Toledo, and that's the only time I did that VR shit. I see the craze. But I could see how it could have you scared shitless, depending on what you're playing. There was this one where I played, it was like a video game where a raptor or some kind of dinosaur is coming towards you. And I knew that it was a video game, but that motherfucker came around the corner and it looked like it was like really coming towards me. And I was really jumping. Jordan and Bill were fucking laughing at me. It's like, dude, motherfucker look real. Shit.
Here, kitty. Hey, Tiger, you smell pizza? Because I smell a slice.
Look, a mini putt for a mini tiger.
Hey, little fella, don't get too close to that hole. You might fall in. Miss. Hey, Tiger's back. Does it bug you when I do this? Oh, hey, what do you do? No, oh, like that's gonna stop me. I'm in here a day, maybe.
Cyber Tiger, the looniest, craziest, zaniest golf playground you'll ever play.
Well, hey, boys and girls, this is Steve G and Mad G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about things that happened in the 90s. So get out your Eddie Vedder wigs and your Thurman Thomas jerseys because we come a long way, babysitter, through the hard times and the good. I got to fuck you, babysitter. I got to fuck you like I should. Dun, 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 dun. We back with Doogie.
I mean,
last time
getting spicy, bro.
Yeah, last time Doogie was getting the gap pulled out on him. Now he's getting in some jeans for the first. Was this his on his way to popping his cherries? So I thought, but hey, he got pump faked.
Yeah, that I mean, we'll get into it, but there was this, I mean, he needs to pull back on some of the shit too, because it got creepy as fuck. So
It
you
got
know,
creepy for you? Oh, that's how I like it.
we'll discuss, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Doogie, I mean, God, he almost lived a straight up fantasy, Steve. He even said it.
Man, I mean, I feel like we've all had, if not a babysitter crush, elder, maybe when we were kids, I was like the older teenager in the neighborhood, like, oh man,
Oh
got
yeah,
nice
for
legs.
sure that.
Yeah.
But I never had a babysitter where it was like, ooh. I always had old ass lady babysitter, so it was never
Yeah.
that, you know.
Yeah, my babysitter was my grandma or my aunts.
Yeah, my shit looked like some straight up Golden Girls shit. Not even in like even a Golden Girl could get it, but not these ladies.
Yeah, and then we're talking about Simpsons again. This is to me one of the more famous episodes from this era. You know, it has a cameo. It's probably the first cameo from Conan O'Brien, like a meta reference to himself. Yeah, man. It's very Bart heavy.
Very crusty heavy too. I mean, it's got it all. And it also is like so even so far into Simpsons at that point that they're making callbacks to things that are now established in Simpsons lore. And I mean, this is like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Almost 30. That is wild when you think about all of that, man.
We're so old. Steve. 30 years? 30 years, Steve?
Yeah, dude. Well,
no.
Today we're going to be talking about all things February 3rd in the 90s. 1990, Daryl Strawberry voluntarily enters the Smithers Center for Alcohol Rehabilitation.
Daryl was getting into it, man. He's living that lifestyle.
Man, getting into it and getting out of it. The dude was, you know, he had a fast track, man. As soon as his career started, he was rookie of the year. He was a World Series champion in the 80s. You know, and him and Doc Gooden, man, you know, they were both young guys. They were like, what do you call them? Phenoms. You know, Doc Gooden was a phenom pitcher. He was one of the aces of the whole league. And Daryl Strawberry, a young 20-something, knocking him out, man. But he also loved hitting that crack pipe. And yeah, dude, it's
crack though. You know, that's where I'm like, crack though. But
crack.
I mean, still killing it on the field. So, you know, it ain't doing that much damage.
Yeah, I mean, when you tell me that a all-star baseball player is smoking crack, and then mayor of Washington, D.C. smokes crack, and it's like, they're successful. How are you going to tell me that it's not going to get me to where I need to be, dare officer?
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's two success stories right then and there, guys. So I think we're all in agreement. Let's smoke some crack, Steve.
Yeah, dare officer.
I mean, fuck this small time shit. Fuck this weed shit. Let's get some legalized crack. And I'm going to be the next mayor, okay? I don't know what town yet. I don't even know where to get the crack, but it's going to happen, Steve.
Hey, kids, don't smoke crack. We're just being, you know, ourselves. Now, in 1991, February 3rd, Nancy Culp, American actress, born in 1921, passes away. And she's, yeah, Nancy Culp, like, I know you don't watch that old-timey shit. Too cool. But, you know, she's a performer that I remember from watching Beverly Hillbillies. She was in several episodes of Sanford and Son. And she was like, I think you could say of the same class as Carol Burnett, just didn't have as much notoriety. She didn't have her own show.
Who was she in Beverly Hillbillies, the granny?
In Beverly Hillbillies, she played the, she might have been like the land,
she
the
wasn't
real estate person.
Are you saying she wasn't in the family though? She was like
she wasn't in the family. No, she worked with them. I can't remember what she did in the show, but I remember her in Sanford and Son. She played one of the officers' mother, and you know, she kind of looks like the lady from In Living Color, Kelly Caulfield. And if they ever did a dramatic reenactment of Nancy Culp, I feel like Kelly Caulfield would fit the bill.
Looks like Peter Pan. Okay, not there.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
But yeah, definitely a legend though, man. So I give her a shout out. On that same day, after 17 years, the first generation CBS special presentation bumper is shown for the final time. Now, I guess this was a big enough deal for them to mention it. It looked like this. And yeah, man, I don't recall it because I don't recall CBS having many special presentations. So yeah, shout out to your CBS special presentation. Somebody who probably didn't know about any of that shit on February 3rd, 91 was Jim Kelly, because he was busy winning the MVP for the Pro Bowl in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Shout out Jim Kelly, straight up ledge.
Yeah, man, it takes focus to go back to back Super Bowls and lose.
Yeah,
Shit.
I mean, it is what it. The one thing I will say is he wasn't the winningest guy, but he's killing it in life now. I know he went through some troubles and shit, but
he beat cancer too.
Exactly. Love Jim Kelly, ledge. Just never liked the Bills, Steve. I hate to shit talk the man, but just was never a fan of the Bills.
No, we're not besmirching Jim Kelly, but I mean, he's got to understand who the fuck does like the Bills.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Unless you live in Buffalo, it's just tough. It's tough. They're doing good though. They're doing better than the Steelers.
Yeah. They did better. Yeah, I mean, look at the trophy case. Yeah, that's what I always go back to. Yeah, this was a good season. Yeah, that's cute. You went to the Pro Bowl. Look at this ashy ass trophy case. Okay. And then there's OJ. That doesn't help matters.
And that's my thing about the Pro Bowl, though. Who gives a shit about the Pro Bowl? Like, what do you got to do to be the fucking MVP of the Pro Bowl? I mean, they got people just straight up just doing it's like jogging and shit. They ain't playing football.
Yeah, dude. They're probably running trains on chicks in the fucking sideline. It's basically just show up and keep your cleats laced.
Yeah, dude.
I hate I even brought the Pro Bowl up because I never cared about it, even as a kid. And these were like legend people. You had Dan Marino, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith. All these guys were playing at the same time. Jerry Rice. It's
make it worse something. Like make them fucking out there just like laying out for shit. But I mean, it just is like watching people practice. You know what I'm saying? I like awesome to see all these guys, but I like to see Warren Moon out there. I like seeing that shit.
He deserves it.
He's cool.
Not enough credit for him either. He wasted a lot of his time in Canada and Houston.
Yeah, Houston, the Oilers.
Yeah. And the thing about the Pro Bowl, they couldn't even do the whole stipulation that they do in baseball all-star games where the winner would get home advantage for their side, because the location is decided like years in advance for the Super Bowl, but that would be more of a thing, I guess. But unless you were one of the all-stars for the Browns, it's not gonna make me anything.
Because they used to do this shit before the Super Bowl. So it's like if you're in the Super Bowl, you ain't playing in this.
Yeah.
So it just is what I mean. Hey, great. It's all awesome football players. Dope. Like if you're on premises and just get to see all these guys, that would be fucking insane. That would be cool. But I ain't tuning in.
Yeah.
Shout out to hey Jim Kelly. Take them flowers. Take them Pro Bowl trophies. Take it.
And we're going to 93 on February 3rd. Doogie Howser is airing the season 4 episode, You've Come a Long Way, Babysitter. Doogie learns that his former babysitter and crush Rachel Wilson is in town. He hasn't seen her since he was 10 years old. Could his old fantasies finally come true? And Vinnie attempts to get his movie script to a famous Hollywood actor, Nathan Gage.
I love that name. Nathan Gage also just looking... They show him, he looks like what I think Mickey Rourke wanted to look like before he got all the surgeries.
Before he looked like a pumpkin's ass?
Yeah, before the mistakes that occurred, that's what he wanted to look like. But I mean, this is when Doogie's, it's getting late in the game for Doogie's TV show, Steve. So he's out. He's living outside. He's not living with his parents anymore.
Yeah, he's got his own pad.
Got his own little player ass fucking like studio. But in the beginning of this episode, he's doing what a 19-year-old Matthew Geddick would do, which is go to the parents' house and instead of buying your own groceries, just, basically
Pilfering.
Yeah, exactly. Robbing them, basically.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have it put together, Steve. He might be out on his own. He might be a surgeon. He might be capable of, doing a heart transplant, but he can't get his own peanut butter, Steve.
No, or his Grey Poupon. And while he's doing some raiding in the refrigerator, his mom tells him that Rachel Wilson, his old babysitter, sent him a postcard saying that she's going to be in town. And instantly, Doogie has flashbacks of his babysitter. And let's just say I wouldn't be against her watching my children or even swallowing them. And now, cue the theme song.
But I mean, yeah, Rachel definitely looking great back then. And again, I didn't have babysitters like this, but god damn. God damn, Steve.
You only have those babysitters on TV or in the movies, man. That's not a real, yeah.
I mean, and she made an impression, Steve. She made an impression on me too. Yeah. But Doogie's like, ooh, Rachel. Okay. Cool. But then we cut. So we know Rachel's here. Rachel's coming to town. Rachel definitely, I think Doogie probably had a couple of wet dreams.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking of this lady. I mean, look at her. I don't know who this woman is. Gorgeous.
Do you want to know who she is, Matt? You want to know? She's in reality, she is Mrs. Kirk Cameron.
What, Steve?
Yeah. And
God bless.
Unfortunately, she had to be subjected to performing in those horrible movies that he was in. I guess because she's his wife. She was in Left Behind 2, Tribulation Force. That could also sound like a porn parody. Left Behind, the movie. She was in Growing Pains. She hit the ABC circuit, man. And, I guess because she was in close quarters with these people, being on Growing Pains, being on even on the show Kirk Cameron had his own fucking show for a minute. I forgot that. He was on Doogie Howser, which was ABC. Growing Pains, a Little Piece of Heaven, Cheers, Who's the Boss, Full House.
She should be a star, Steve. Look at her. She's an angel. And clearly Doogie still, even 9 years later, Steve, 9 years from her babysitting this guy, he's become a surgeon. He's become an MD. He's a genius. And yet he still thinks of this chick. So we cut to his place, which I gotta say, as somebody who lived in some real piece of shit apartments, Doogie's living that lifestyle. He is a doctor. So hopefully
he's a doctor.
He's being compensated fairly, it appears. So him and Vinnie are hanging out. Vinnie's watching TV. Vinnie's watching an interview with Nathan Gage, who again, he just looks like like Billy Ray Cyrus, with like that little like chin dimple and shit. He's just very, very cheesy 90s guy,
Yeah. Billy Ray from this era.
He looks like he's in Poison or some band like that. But he's talking about how he made it in Hollywood and how he took a chance and all these like things that happened to make him a success, and you just got to go for it. And Vinnie apparently is an aspiring writer and wants to get a script made, and this inspires him, Steve. So he's like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Nathan Gage can do it. I can do it. And I got to say, Vinnie, if you think that you're going to become famous like Nathan Gage, look in the mirror, bud. Look in the mirror, bud.
But that's the only thing he's missing. He's got the talent. He's got the juice. He's got the drip. He's a pimp in his own mind. All he needs is one shot. All he needs is the opportunity. So he thinks.
I mean, this motherfucker, we'll get to it, but I almost start believing in Vinnie a little bit. I thought he was just like a child molester in the making, but it seems like he might actually be like some kind of like, he could be, I could see him producing movies. He's slick talking, he's slick Vinnie.
What's the term he used? He's got the chutzpah.
The chutzpah? I don't know.
Chutzpah. Yeah.
But he's like, you know what, Doogie? I'd love to stay and chat, but I'm going to go find my destiny. So, and I guess they live in LA. So, it isn't like he's driving across town, leaving Doogie to just kind of daydream until good old Rach shows up, Steve. She just shows up. And I don't know, girl that made dedicated fucking babysitter,
If she's doing a follow-up just to check on him. Like For one, I mean, you never had a real babysitter like this. I mean, there's a reason if a teenager was babysitting, there's a reason why she was available on Saturdays to watch her kid. Nobody was trying to fuck her.
Well, she shows up, and I mean, it's like Wayne's World. It's like that all the glitter. It's just she has this aura, dude. Yeah, exactly. And I just again, I get it. I fully get it. I understand. And she's
I
hot.
get that. I don't get the Kirk Cameron shit, but I totally get this. I mean, yeah.
To quote you, Steve, God damn.
Shit.
That was the greatest ringtone of all time. And so they're connected now. She's in town. She's in his fucking apartment. No need for an RSVP. They connected already. So I don't know. I feel like this chick I don't know what happened back then for her, but it seems like she's romping and ready to go. Maybe she knows about Doogie. She knows he's a surgeon and is like, ooh, let me get my claws into that, you know? Maybe.
Word travels now.
But she's hot to trot. They're reconnecting. And then we cut to Vinnie showing up at a fucking Hollywood lot, Steve.
And he just tells the guard at the gate that he has aspirations to run into Nathan Gage. And the security guard is just unmoved. He doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, it's like, oh, that's cute, kid. You got to get the fuck out of here, though. Yeah. There's a lot of aspiring wannabe this and that. And then we go back to Rachel and Doogie, and she says it's just so weird seeing him as a doctor now. She remembers him playing with his cars on the floor, wanting her to play with him. But now he would like to play with her on the floor of his car, unclothed, receiving mouth-to-pussy resuscitation.
But he's taking her on a tour of the hall. He's like, here, let's go into the ICU unit for a second, Rach. Here's my buddy. Dr. So-and-so, and even like everybody else is like, oh god damn, Doogie, yeah. Who is this? And he's like, oh, this is my old babysitter. And whoever the doctor is they're talking to is like, yeah, I remember when I was 10, I had a big ass crush on my babysitter.
Thing would never go down. I woke up with it, just like dying. And then the other, I think it's Dr. Spalding, the female doctor. She's retelling about how when she babysat a child, how he was always trying to look up her skirt.
But just then, just to really just dampen the mood. I mean, we're edging Doogie this whole episode. Bam, some guy comes in. There's a car crash. He's like, Rachel, step back. Give me a scalpel. He does all this doctor shit, and Rachel's like
flexing.
Oh, he's doing it's a brain injury. He's ordering people around,
and then, she's just standing there watching this shit. Like
and then that Dr. Spalding, the one you said, was like she steps over and looks Rach right in the eye and is like, guess he's not the little Doogie you knew back in the day, huh? And it's like, god damn.
Shit got really real, didn't it?
He's gonna get it, Steve. He's gonna get them draws. Yeah, so she's purring. And while she's purring, Vinny's cooking up a little scheme to get back into that lot. How's he do it? He gets a van. I don't know how he got the van. I'm hoping it was a family company. Maybe not.
It's his last name, Del Pino's, because there's no way he's just like on the spot. Like, you know what? I'm going to steal a van and then I'm going to put my last name. If he did, man, you shouldn't be in the fucking Hollywood. You should be doing some other kind of life.
But I mean, he has a van. He's got a plausible fucking reason to go in. So he comes up to another gate and he's like, look, I got a fucking pipe here. Got to get on the lot. And he's trying to slick talk his way in. The guard, he's like, I got to call somebody. People are stacking up behind Vinny and Vinny's just putting it on. He's like, come on, man. My time's worth too much. He's putting on like a fucking real mobster-esque, like Goodfellas, pitch on this guy. And he's like, come on, let me in. I mean, fucking come on, guy. And finally the guard's like, oh, okay. And he gets on the lot, Steve. So he's one step closer to Nathan Gage. Nathan Gage.
Vinny, I've arrived, man. I'm over here. You know?
So, I mean, I got to give the guy credit. He gets on the lot. So he's in there. And now he basically just gets in. He sees where, like, I guess Nathan Gage's shit's at. So there's another guard. I mean, there's extra levels to this shit. So He tries to charm that guard, and that guard's like, "Come on, man, fuck off with this shit. You can't be in here. This is a closed set." And I guess, and then all of a sudden, like he does some David Copperfield shit, and then Vinny's gone. Steve, he's gone. He's a shadow.
And then we go back to Doogie and his date, Rachel. They're looking into the telescope, and he tells her that, like, I discovered this star and I named it after you. And, she's even more moist than the draws.
Gush. Yeah. Oh my God. In her head, she's like, I'm going to fuck this kid. And he's doing everything 100% the right way, Steve. He's not an old young guy, but he's laying on some good game.
Yeah. Now, where are we at to where you are disgusted, or you said you felt uncomfortable?
Okay, well, so he's pouring it on, and it's clear there's something here. I mean, there's continual just like back and forth between him. He's saying all these things, sharing memories, and they kiss.
Yes.
And then Doogie starts like sniffing her hair and like breathing in this weird erratic. He's like, "Oh God, yes, your face. This is the face. This is the dream face. This is everything. Your hair. This is the hair of a woman." It's like, dude, okay, dude. You could have just fucking fucked this chick. You didn't have to go into this weird, like, it's like, I don't even know. It's like something a serial killer would say to like a chick that's tied up, basically.
Yeah, or either that or him trying to be on some Shakespearean shit. It's like, dude, she want to give you some panties, man. Like,
you ain't Fraser Crane. You can't be laying out this Shakespearean, and it wasn't even Shakespearean. It was just like, oh God, your hair, like, oh my God, your teeth are so nice. It was just weird. And he, up until this point, he's killing it. And then they start like smashing, and even through that, like he basically says all these weird things, and then she's like, "Wait, you're saying I'm the perfect woman?" And he's like, "You're the woman I associate with perfection since I would been a little kid." And like, even that, she's like, "Oh, okay." And then it stops.
Yeah,
it stops. And basically what he's done is talked his way into and straight up out of the pussy, which I've done. We've all done it. You think you're 100% in, and then you're walking home about to jack off 10 minutes later. That's what happens here, Steve.
And there was no class on that. The Doogie, yeah, you're very book smart, but let that be another life lesson for you. Because it happens to the best of us.
I mean, you committed too much. You put 100% in, and you were like, I'm going to throw an extra 10 on top just to lock it in. And that extra 10 was just creepy, or whatever. So and she's like, I can't. And this is where I was like, if I'm Doogie, I'm like, bitch, come on. She's like, I can't ruin the illusion. If we do this tonight, it's going to be amazing. I know it's going to be amazing, but I'm not going to be this perfect idea in your head. You're going to lose that. And I would have been like, I'm cool with that. And he even says that, I think. But
that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah, I would just be like, prove it. If you think you're if you're my dream girl, I'll be like, prove it.
And it was kind of like she's afraid that she won't be anything better than how he already sees her. And by the way,
she's afraid that she's like, you know what? I babysat this kid. This is some straight up creep shit. Even if I am a hot chick, she ain't going to jail, but it's still like, bitch, you changed this kid's diaper, basically. So,
and I mean, he did fucking talk himself out of it, man. Let that be a lesson for boys and girls out there. You can't talk your way in. You can only talk your way out.
That's great. That's fucking some fucking like Buddha shit, Steve. And it's happened to me in my younger days so many times. So, just where it's a lock. You're trying to figure out where to get a condom in your head. And you're like, man, I should have gotten a box. This shit's locked in. I'm gonna be in here all night. And then 5 minutes later, you're like, wait, where are you going? Wait, what?
Doing all that talking, all that motherfucking lip service.
God damn it, Matt.
I know, man. And now we go back to the film lot where they're shooting Three Men on a Mission, which is a Three Musketeers remake. It cost $20 million. And it also sounds like another porn parody. But he tries to drop his Vinnie tries to drop his script off to Nathan, but as the guard is carrying him off, Vinnie tries to make himself relatable to Nathan's own backstory, talking about, you took a chance at life. And he even gives them this whole spiel that, us artists, if we don't surprise ourselves, how can we surprise others? Nathan sees the familiarity in what Vinnie is saying as far as taking risk in life. And he's like, you know what, before you take him off, he agrees to read his script. And what is it called? The Black Dragon?
Yeah, Black Dragon or Black something. And when I saw this, I was like, man, this motherfucker ain't gonna read this shit. And sure enough, Steve, they fucking take Vinnie's ass. And it ain't but a minute later that they're driving him to wherever he's parked. And he sees fucking what's his face just toss this shit in the trash like it's a cigarette butt.
Nathan Gage. Yeah, I think Ludacris did that to Terrence Howard in Hustle and Flow. He's like, man, I got this mixtape, man. Oh man. So he's like, oh, okay, that's your shit. So he goes into the restroom. Ludacris is taking a piss. And he's in the next stall, and he like goes to where Luda was sitting, and he sees his mixtape or his CD just sitting there in the pisser. It's like, wow, the fuck. But in Hustle and Flow, Terrence Howard, he fucking killed Ludacris. Yeah,
dude. Shout out to Hustle and Flow, just if nothing else, for getting 3 6 Mafia an Oscar. So thank you, thank you.
Mafia, yup.
You made Terrence Howard look tough for like 5 seconds, but it also is a ridiculous movie. Like,
Terrence Howard with a
DJ Qualls in that movie?
DJ Qualls sat on the wall. Yeah, Jordan's actually met DJ Qualls, and it's a pretty weird story from what I remember. I don't know if he shared that with you.
I don't want to meet that guy. I
don't think I do either. I don't think I want to meet Terrence Howard either. I'm a fan from a distance.
He'd just be crying the whole time, Steve.
Man, don't let those hazily eyes and the soft voice fool you. He is from Chicago, and he's got a couple. I ain't gonna get into that. Never mind. Yeah, that's what I hear. He's now back at the house with Doogie. They see Nathan Gage being interviewed, and Nathan regurgitates the same jargon that Vinnie kicked to him on the set, saying that artists take risks, and if we can't surprise ourselves, how can we surprise others? But Doogie tells Vinnie that, hey, maybe that's a flattering gesture. Imitation is a form of flattery, so they say. And Vinnie just takes that and runs with it. He's like, yeah, he's one of the biggest stars, and he just fucking ghostwrote some of the shit. I ghostwrote some shit that he said on TV. I'm on my way.
He's been robbed by a true artist, Steve. So I mean, that's got to be proof positive. He's on the path to stardom. So that's enough for him. Vinnie, he does that. Fucking Doogie's looks at the stars again. He looks at Rachel's constellation, and then he goes to his computer and writes his little memoir page that he always ends each episode on. And if you could get internet back in this time, he would have been jacking the fuck off the rest of the night.
Yeah, he's looking at her constellation. He could have been looking at her brown star if he played his cards right. And, I was keeping up with Doogie typing this, man. Thank you, Mrs. Ruth, or whatever the fuck your name was in Perrysburg. But it said all mythical figures are from childhood. Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, and Perfect Babysitter. I know there's no jolly fat man. I know Dad put the dollar under my pillow. And thank God I've always had my Rachel Wilson. But she's not yours. She's kind of ours.
Somebody had that Rachel Wilson. Kirk Cameron was having that all the time, Steve.
Yeah, she's Kirk's, yeah. Man, maybe should have got a perm, Doogie. Curl it up. Did some shitty made-for-movie Christian movies. Made-for-TV, fucking Hallmark Lifetime special.
Jesus, save us, please.
The sequel.
It's just Kirk Cameron just being, please, Jesus, this is Kirk Cameron. Please deliver us from evil.
Deliver us from evil, Jesus. I Am the Sun. Volume 5. How the fuck? I don't care how.
Alan Thicke was on the set of fucking what's it called? Just like this fucking
Mikey. Oh, Mikey.
It's real close to your Dennis Miller, Steve.
Oh my God. Family Guy. Yeah.
Hey, babe. Hey, Alan Thicke, what's up, babe?
Oh, Mikey. Show me that smile. Show me that smile, babe.
Show me that smile, babe. Somebody that's never watched is like, well, okay. These guys are retarded.
Maybe I should watch more. You remember that time we talked about Marge Shot on an earlier episode, Matt? And I was like, oh, she got suspended for being racist. And you were like, oh, which time? Well, February 3rd, 1993, Cincinnati Reds owner Marge Shot is suspended for a year due to racist comments.
Marge, again, Marge, let's at least go into a room, do something. Why are you doing it out in fucking public like this?
Yeah, she likes those 4-letter words and other expletives.
I mean, no one's surprised though. I mean, why was this even news? Look at this.
Well, we're fans. Most of us like trash TV. We didn't have trash TV. There wasn't Maury, or this is before Jerry. We had Marge Shot. We had people like that. And it was like, oh, I know she's a piece of shit, but what is she going to say?
Yeah, right. Marge, what's on today's agenda? She's like, let me tell you about these fucking Jews. Like, oh God, get the mic ready, everybody.
Yeah. She was the owner of the Reds and they fined her $25,000. And, $25,000 to a baseball owner is like fucking sock change, for her alleged admitted race remarks and ethnic slurs. She began nearly 3 months prior when the accusations of her use of slurs first became public. Baseball's 10-member ruling executive council suspended Shot for a year beginning March 1st, and she would be eligible to be reinstated after 8 months. There was no stopping her, suspension or not.
Yeah, Marge was doing Marge. Look at her. She just looks like somebody's mom in Ohio, which she was.
And she looked like King Harley Race. 1994, February 3rd. Look at her mouth, looks like a butthole. 1994, on February 3rd, The Simpsons are airing the episode Bart Gets Famous. Bart becomes an overnight sensation as the I Didn't Do It boy on the Krusty the Clown show. One of the standout episodes from this era that I remember. I remember watching it when it was airing for the first time. The little details about the box factory, I forgot. But it's like, oh yeah, that is how that came about.
I definitely, when I was watching this, like I just kept playing more episodes, and this season just filled with memorable episodes. So they were definitely hitting their stride at this point. But I'm with you. Once I realized what this episode was, this is definitely a memorable one. So Bart, I liked his chalkboard thing on this one. The one-armed man didn't steal my homework or something like that.
And we start off and Bart slides down the stairs whistling the Simpsons theme until Marge tells him to stop whistling that annoying tune. It's very meta, Fox. You like the meta.
Yeah, and he's happy. He's in a good mood. And everybody's like, everybody else is kind of pissy. And they're like, what the fuck are you so happy about? Turns out a little field trip day, which I remember just loving that. No matter where you were going, it's just like, great. This is going to be awesome. And there's no pressure.
We did have a one really shitty field trip. Like, why the fuck did y'all take us here? Do you remember? It was like either for chemistry or one of those bullshit science classes.
I remember going to the waste treatment plant, and that
Boom.
sucked. We went someplace else, like some kind of colonial shit too. I forget where it was at, but I remember like it was all outside. But I mean, no matter what, it was like we didn't have to do work that day. You were just on a bus fucking around. Yeah, they took us to a goddamn shit factory, but you know, I'd rather go to a box factory. But
Yeah, you're probably right.
He's definitely happy. And he's prodding everybody. And Lisa has has a crazy fucking like daydream where she just goes to her happy place, and her happy place is her as an older lady writing another Pulitzer Prize winning novel of some kind, while Bart is older. He's polishing all of her Pulitzer prizes, and she kicks him, kills him with one of the Pulitzer prizes, and just goes on writing. So that's what's in Lisa's head. She's a little psychopath.
She's my favorite character, by the way.
She's very cool. I like her too. But I just thought that was hilarious. And also, just try saying Pulitzer Prize a lot. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I run into that a lot in the show. That's why I need to slow down before I Eric Watts myself. But we find out that the field trip is to the box factory. Skinner pump fakes them, and the box factory, as you would imagine, is boring as fuck and should not be visited by any child. But the kids do spot the TV station across the street where they shoot the Krusty the Clown show.
There's also like Funland. There's like they pass a lot of like cool looking things on the way to the box factory too. So that really rubs it in a little bit. But Bart's, scheming. He's always looking for a little out. So he's looking at that like TV studio. And again, just like fucking Vinnie and Doogie, he gets it up his butt. He's getting into that studio. So what does he do? The perfect escape, Steve. He jumps right into just some random laundry thing. I don't know why they have a laundry thing at a fucking box factory, but they do.
Yeah.
And he jumps in it, and then he quickly realizes nobody's paying attention anyway, and just gets out and just walks away. So it's
just walks out the door, just walks out the exit. And it was very easy to get on the lot. I don't know what the excuse he told the security guard, but he was just like, "Oh, okay, sure."
Security guard's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I work here." And the security guard's like, "Oh, okay." That's it. That's it. It's that easy, Vinny. Take some notes, bud.
Yeah, so Bart is walking through the TV set. He sees the bee. He spots Krusty cussing out his assistant, and he spots Kent Brockman. Now, when Krusty's cussing out his assistant, he's missing his pastries, his Danish. Yeah, so he thinks, all right, I'll just take Kent Brockman's Danish right under his nose, and because of that, Krusty sees something. They're like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna keep this kid around. So he hires him on as his flunky.
Yeah, you like Mean Joe Greens him. He throws a towel at him and fucking he's like, "Oh my God, it's an extra big handkerchief, a clown handkerchief." He's like, "It's a towel, you dumbass."
Yeah.
So he has a job, kind of. He's been offered a position as an assistant. But meanwhile, back in the box factory, there's a panic because nobody knows where Bart's at. They even see a box with his hat on it, or a hat that looks like his. And everyone fears the worst.
Yeah.
They try to call Marge. They can't get in touch with her. They call Homer. He's at work at the nuclear power plant. But for some reason, when he gets the call, comes out of a shower. I don't.
Yeah.
So, but they think he's dead, Steve. They think he's been boxed.
Yeah, man. Or got mashed in the box machine. But I don't know. They just kind of jump to like eventually Homer finds him.
No, Homer goes home thinking his son's dead. He takes the box home with the hat on. It's like, "Marge, there's something terrible happened." And as he's about to like tell them that their kid's dead, Bart comes in and is like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And they're like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And he starts laying this thing on about getting this job with Krusty. He's his assistant. He's asking permission if he can work for Krusty, basically.
Yeah, and he's can't wait to tell his classmates, but they don't even believe him. They think it's all cap. He's like, "No, watch, man. Like, wait for the credits." And it's like right after Krusty's credit, it just like does the little small screen with the other side of the TV showing Kent Brockman talking about the news.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Hollywood, Steve. He's in. He's got his foot in the door. So we now see him like they sort of do a montage of him just like hating that why he hates this job. He thought it was going to be awesome working for Krusty, but Krusty's just basically using him as a child slave. They go to a signing, like an autograph signing, and he's signing for Krusty while Krusty's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And he's at school and he's just in the middle of class. He gets a call on a cell phone and Krusty's like, "Hey kid, I need some fingerprints. You got to come down here right now. No questions asked." So it's just not all it cracked up to be, Steve.
He's at his every beck and call, man. And, as he's delivering pastries this time around, Sideshow Mel gets sick because I guess he can't have cheese or something like that.
Yeah, he's lactose intolerant. Yep.
He's lactose intolerant. So he gets sick, gets cussed out by Sideshow Mel. So Krusty needs a replacement. And he's supposed to be just like a bit player. He has like one little line, but he flubs that because Bart walks onto the set, knocks everything down, and he says, "I didn't do it." And to a sea of laughter. He's the greatest thing since sliced bread, apparently. That one little line.
Well, you can't even tell because he's like worried because they do it. He gets a laugh, but then after the show, Krusty's like, "God damn, kid, you're lucky. Like, just forget about it. Don't worry about it." But then they open the door to like go outside, and there's people waiting. Like, "It's the I didn't do it, kid. Yeah." So it's a hit, Steve. It's fucking ay caramba. You know what I'm saying?
It's the I didn't do that, or did I do that? And this is an obvious jab to Urkel. Because this is when Urkel, he's at his peak. Is basically the Urkel show. They don't even call it Family Matters at this point. I think Ice Cube even made it a line on one of his songs. It's like, at the crib watching Urkel or some shit like that. But everybody's saying it. Mayor Quimby, he gets caught cheating on his wife per usual, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't do it." And then they all have a laugh.
Didn't do that. It's like the Mentos commercial. It gets you out of anything, Steve.
Yeah.
You kill a guy, you just go, "I didn't do it." And everyone's like, "You motherfucker. You motherfucker." So, and even fucking MC Hammer is doing a Can't Touch This remix just with "I didn't do it."
I didn't do it.
Didn't do it. I'd listen.
Solid.
Put it out, son.
Apu, he's getting held at gunpoint by Snake, and he just rings the alarm, and right in front of him, he's like, "I didn't do it." Snake just puts the gun. They have a laugh. Aunt Patty and Selma, they set their apartment building on fire, and she's like, "I didn't do it." But yeah, man, it's the new craze.
And Bart starts now. We're seeing like he's getting in his head because that's all it is. Nobody gives a fuck. He could be like dying, and people are just like, say it. And it's getting into his head. And then it's especially getting into his head when he hears Lisa say something about it just being like an obnoxious fad. He's like, "Oh, what? I'm an artist."
Yeah. Stop hating, man.
Yeah, I mean, that is true though. I mean, damn, Lisa. You could have gotten paid off this a little bit longer, but whatever. But it does get into his head so much that he's like, "You know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna be one of these one-hit wonder people or this like catchphrase guy. I'm gonna fucking go on TV. I'm gonna learn people something. I'm gonna learn you something." And he's gonna go on Conan O'Brien soon. So he's gonna have a platform and he's gonna study up, Steve. So salute to Bart. He's on a mission.
You're on Conan, dude. You're getting all the fucking sauce over here in class.
I mean, you're just living the life. Like, that's heaven, but he's in hell. And that's just sad. So he's ready to go on Conan. I don't even know what he starts like he gets on. He's in Conan. He starts going into like the plight of the fucking whatever, the African savannah. And Conan's like, "Just say the catchphrase, kid."
Yeah, you didn't come here for that shit. Just say the line, motherfucker.
And he does. And then Conan O'Brien's like, just does some weird gyration. He makes Bart do it. And Bart's like, "Oh, God, this is my life."
Yeah.
This is it.
And in no time, the line and the fandom, the craze, the fad is all over. It loses its luster. The well's gone dry, because he comes on a Krusty and he's already introduced as the I didn't do it boy. And he comes on, he's just like, I didn't do it. Crickets.
And,
Weasel wazzle.
And it's those 15 minutes, Steve, they're done. It's over. And Krusty's like, this is it, kid. This is show business. Welcome to Hollywood. He basically just kicks him out the back, locks the door, and that's it. It's over with.
No big deal. You're just finished.
Go enjoy life, kid. So he goes home, and Marge starts like packing. They even had merch, Steve. They had I didn't do it, kid merch. It's going in a box. It's over with. And at least he can go back to his life and not just be a one hit, like a catchphrase kid, you know?
Yeah. Like the rest of the Springfield.
Yeah.
Because right on cue, Homer knocks over a lampshade and he's like, no, to Bart's ay caramba. Marge's Maggie's pacifier suck. Flanders, idly ho. Barney, Nelson's ha ha. And Mr. Burns, excellent. And then Lisa's just like, I'm going to my room.
Dude.
Lisa, so it wasn't until, she wasn't until adulthood that I appreciated Lisa, because she's my favorite character now. She's the smartest, and she got this far without having a catchphrase. She never needed one.
She's that bitch, Steve.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, this is just the time of, I don't watch it anymore. We talk about it, but this is The Simpsons. I remember this is it. This season, I bet if you, the one after this is the one where Homer keeps going into the Quickie Mart getting sick off the food Apu's putting out. So they do like a sting with like the big cowboy hat and shit.
Oh yeah.
I was like, this whole fucking season's hits. It
is, man. I don't know when this era is over. Maybe 95. I don't know. It might be over at this one, man. This season. I still like, I watched it for a while. I mean, we all did, and you know, but it's just crazy that it's gone on so long. But I mean, this shit, you see why it started off just fucking killing it. And you know what? You could also look at this episode as a reference to what was really going on in Simpsons at the time, because Bart started off as the superstar. He was kind of like the focal point, and it was around this time when like the focus was like turn towards Homer. So this could be like a swan song episode for the Bart of this era of the Bart fandom. You know,
we still have Apu. They didn't kill him off. There's these characters that you were like Kent Brockman and shit like that, and we didn't get Phil Hartman, but they had it all back then, you know. And I feel like as it's gone on, they've maintained. I'm sure it's still good. I'm sure it's still on for a reason. But some of those like big players in it just aren't involved that much anymore, and it is what it is. But we got the golden age. I think everybody would agree about that.
Now, February 3rd, 1995, Boys on the Side premiered in theaters, starring Whoopi Goldberg, Drew Barrymore, Mary Louise Parker, and Mr. All right himself, Matthew McConaughey.
What is that movie about?
It's basically like a road trip kind of deal. One girl needs to go to Arizona, somebody's New Jersey. And I remember watching this with my grandma. She had rented it. But I think there were some Drew Barrymore titties in this movie. And
I was going to ask.
Yeah. And this was around time when she loved showing them things off. This was also when she appeared on David Letterman. I believe this was the movie she was helping to promote. You know what I mean?
Wish I was one of those boys on the side, Steve.
Or David Letterman to see those. But on that same day, Jerky Boys premiered in theaters. Jerky Boys, the movie.
It's up there, Flapjack. I mean, this movie is not great, but it's just the Jerky Boys. If anybody who has not listened to the CD is not fucking aware of this, these guys were one of many prank phone call comedians, but I feel like these guys were the best. Those two dudes. Especially, I mean, Ahmed is the guy on the right, and I forget, the guy on the left is like John something, And he went on, he's on voice on Family Guy. He's Mort on Family Guy. And that voice is just basically one of his characters named Saul Rosenberg. It was just like killing it. So this movie, they got so famous doing prank phone calls, they gave him a movie. And you gotta know that they were that good. So, the movie wasn't great, but I love Jerky Boys. So
I remember Jerky Boys. That was a thing, man. They had several volumes of albums that came out. And I mean, that's where the fandom started, right? They weren't like stand-up comedians. It was all
phone calls, man. I don't know how, like, I'd have to go back and figure out how they got even big doing that, but I'm sure it was like maybe a radio thing or something. But the CDs, Jerky Boys 3, you get that one. It's all hitters and they're fucking hilarious. That's something I miss, Steve. We don't get CDs, but comedy CDs. There was such a there's some of them were just stand up, but some of them were like Adam Sandler CDs where it was like sketches and songs. And then there was this.
And Chris Rock.
Yeah, dude. So shout out to the Jerky Boys.
Yeah, man. Definitely some pioneers from the 90s. And 1996, the last episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark airs on Nickelodeon. Jesus Christ.
Are you afraid of the dog?
Are you afraid of the duck?
I mean, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Steve? That was a big one in my life. I don't know. I don't feel like I watched it from beginning to end. I didn't see probably this episode, but love me some Are You Afraid of the Dark. Some of those first episodes, once you see them again, you realize how burned into your brain they are.
The title screen I'll always remember, man. And this was a part of the SNCC lineup, the early era of the SNCC. I believe All That maybe was a part of it.
Yep. There was some other show, like I forget what it was.
Pete and Pete.
Definitely that.
Wasn't there a dance show?
I feel like there was some kind of like cartoon / like animation show where they used to use like figures. It was kind of like Robot Chicken-ish.
Kablam.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to throw that shit in the fire that they threw like at the beginning of every story in Are You Afraid of the Dark that made like the flames kick up. I was like, damn, that looks sick.
Yeah, it's not too late, man.
Yes. What is it? He just started throwing chemicals and fire. It was a disaster.
On that same day, you know who probably didn't see the last episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Nickelodeon, Matthew? Ooh. Probably Audrey Meadows, famous American actress, born in 1922. She played several roles throughout her career, but she's mostly famous for playing that bitch Alice crammed it.
Sometimes I just want to throw it all down and get lifted.
She was Alice Cramden on The Honeymooners, or, fucking Jackie Gleason was sending her over the moon. And I joke about that a lot, man. It's like, dude, like that was the punchline of America. That was like did I do that or I didn't do it? And so it's like, dude, how chauvinistic was America in the 50s? I mean, I know it was pretty fucking racist, but it wasn't just racist. It was pretty chauvinistic to even where men and women were laughing at that line that was alluding to a man punching his fucking wife so hard that she would fly into outer space to the fucking moon. And they were just eating that shit up because it was just so fucking... It was the fucking bee's knees. And I love like classic television, but that Honeymooners is just one that I just like, damn, dude, I cannot get over the fact that like this country was this stale to where this shit was the knee slapper of the day. Jesus Christ, man.
I mean, if you go back even into the 70s though, they were doing shit like remember, what is that fucking movie where it's like a football team and the guy, it's Burt Reynolds. They redid it with Adam Sandler. What's that shit
The Longest
called?
Yard.
Dude, if you watch the one with Burt Reynolds, the beginning of that movie is him just straight up beating a bitch up. Like
and he's supposed to be the protagonist.
It's very not funny at all. He just like beats a chick's ass and then leaves. And it's like, that's the beginning of the movie.
And that was accepted. Like,
yeah, dude, they were doing some. Like, I mean, you're right. sociologically, it's not a good look that it was cool in the culture just to be like this dumb broad.
You know, it's you know how we like would recite different lines from Dave Chappelle's show. Like, imagine a bunch of like grown ass men in the 50s like reciting their favorite lines of honeymooners while like trying to outdo each other. Like, oh man, how chauvinistic are you? Well, yeah, man, when I get home, if she doesn't have my sandwich made, I'm gonna send her to Jupiter. Well, what about you, Frankie? Well, shit, if I come from the wood factory, man, she better have my salami cut, sliced, and on some fucking cheese and in some bread. As if not, I'm sending her to Uranus. Oh, that's a good one, Gus. Well, what about you?
Those are our
Jesse
grandparents, Steve. That's it.
Well, what do you got? Let's see what you got over there, Mikey. Oh man, if she doesn't have my supper ready by the time I get home from work, oh man, I'm going to send her into plutonium. All right.
Whoa.
Yeah, I just dried that one out. That's not even a real fucking planet. Gus.
Plutonium.
What was his name? I forgot his. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
the other guy
his
sent him
name?
to Uranus. The other guy sent him to Pluto. Yeah, I fucking wrapped that.
But you
one too.
won, Steve, because you did that bitch Atlas crammed it. I mean, that just salute to that.
R.I.P. Audrey Meadows. In 1998, Pro Jam released Yield. Never seen it, never heard it. I feel like they're overrated, and I'm going to say that on this 90s podcast.
Steve doesn't like them. Fuck Pearl Jam. I didn't like him either, Steve. I'm with you. I mean, everybody was listening to it, and they got a couple of songs that, you know, set off some nostalgia for me just because they were being played so much. But as far as like bands that I like back then, they're way down there. They're not even in there.
They're not at all. I mean, and you know, they get compared to, you know, Alice in Chains, their peers, Nirvana and, you know, Soundgarden, but like they're probably my least out of that whole Seattle collective, man.
You're just not a Ved head, right? You're not into it.
Seems like a nice guy. I mean, he is a Cubs fan, which I don't care for, but I don't know. You were friends with Kurt, and you were cool with Jerry Cantrell and all them guys. So, all right, you know, you're not a complete D-bag. But on that same day in 98, the New York Yankees replaced general manager Bob Watson with Brian Cashman. And Bob Watson, here's a moment in Black history. Bob Watson, the gentleman just behind me, he was the first African-American general manager to win a World Series championship. He was the general manager for the Yankees in 96 when they won for the first time since the 70s. And on this day in 98, he's being replaced by Brian Cashman, who was the general manager for that whole empire that won in 98, 99.
So he set the fucking base for this Cashman, basically.
Yeah, for Mike Van Gundy over here.
I was about to say, dude, Cashman looks like a straight dweeb. I mean, I know the guy's successful. Go do some taxes or some shit.
Well, yeah, man. He was still around when the Yankees won in 09.
God, it's a cool ass name though. Cashman, fucking.
Yeah, cash me outside. How about that? Now, somebody who probably didn't buy that Pearl Jam album in 98 was Mary Kay Letourneau, a 36-year-old former teacher who violated probation with 14-year-old father of her baby, Billy Fuluhau. I did not pronounce
She's
that right.
dead, right?
She is gone.
She's gone.
No longer with us.
But here's the thing, Steve. It might have been true love because they got back together.
They did. When she got caught this time in 98, she had just got released. She had did a 6-month bid for the first time she got caught. And just 2 weeks after completing her jail sentence, Letourneau was found by police in a car with Fuluhau near her home. She initially said that she was alone in the car, but he showed up and they asked for identification. They gave false names. It was reported that sexual intercourse had occurred in the car, and he told a detective that he told a detective that Letourneau had kissed frequently, and that he had only touched Letourneau on the thigh, and that no sexual intercourse had occurred. But man, it smelled like.
I was about to say, mama, like, what's that puddle on the ground, bruh?
Yeah.
I mean, damn, we're getting into some weird territory, but would this guy have like a 12-inch dick? Like this bitch went to jail for the dick, got out, and instantly magnetized back to the dick. So this guy must have just been packing a wallop, Steve.
Dude, I envied the guy because he was our age. This when she first got caught, he was 12, and we were 12 on our way to 13. So.
Oh man, Steve. I mean, that's what you see some of these stories where, I don't want to make light of a situation where a young person's being taken advantage of. But at that age, if I was that kid's age, and I mean, Mary Kay, I'm not saying she's a supermodel, but young fat Matt, if young fat Matt at that, whatever age that kid is, was standing next to her and she was like, I want to suck your dick, I would have been like, thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Man, there was this one teacher we had, man. I think she ended up getting caught. And
Steve, you could have been a Spanish teacher. Steve.
Yeah, I wish.
Man. Who was it?
It was a Spanish teacher, and she got apparently caught up in something with one of the guys that was 2 years above us. I think we were freshmen when this happened, and he was a junior. And I never seen her again. So I don't know like if there was any truth to it. I mean, it had to be something for her to not show up anymore.
Well, Letourneau, again, it was all a lurid, tawdry affair, and it was very widely publicized. And she went to jail for fucking this kid, rightfully so. But they ended up marrying each other, I believe, and having more kids. Yep. And so maybe it was true love, Steve. Very weird, but hey, she's the older person, and she's a girl, so I guess it's okay.
Hey, man, grass on the nuts. Hey, hop on now. Mary Kay, meet Carla Faye. Carla Faye Tucker, who on 1998, February 3rd, is executed in Texas. The first woman executed in the United States since 1984. And why are you laughing, Matt?
Just the grass on the, I mean, we've all heard if there's grass on the infield, play ball, but just the twist to grass on the nuts, Steve, I don't know why. Just well done, bud.
Yeah, I mean, I could have said grass on the balls.
On the nut.
If there's hair on the balls, grass on the balls, I mean, hop on.
You're right. But I mean, Texas, they killed some bitch. And, I feel like this is a Texas thing. They don't give a fuck. And I don't know. What did she do, though, Steve?
She did something pretty gruesome. She broke into a couple's apartment. And her and her boyfriend at the time were going to steal a motorcycle and motorcycle parts. So they go in there, and the husband of the couple is there with actually a side piece. And the boyfriend hits the dude, beats him to death, hits him in the head. But they still hear that he's like gargling and shit. So Carla Faye, she takes an ice pick. Let me get the fucking facts straight.
No need, Steve. Off this bitch. Cancel this bitch.
A pickaxe. She takes a pickaxe.
What the fuck, Carla Faye? Where do you get a pickaxe from? You digging for coal?
Yeah, he was making the gurgling sound, and like Tucker wanted him to stop making the noise. So she picked up a 3-foot pickaxe that was lying against the wall and began hitting him. Now her boyfriend came back and he gave him the final blow in the chest. And they discovered that there was a woman hiding in the room underneath some sheets on the wall. So Carla Faye Tucker and the lady, they get into a tussle. Her boyfriend, his last name was actually Garrett, no relation. And so Garrett, he helps her out with the side piece. And basically they take the pickaxe into her heart.
God damn, guys.
And she admits that she was receiving orgasms. She got orgasms from every time her boyfriend was hitting her with this pickaxe. Yeah.
Kill this bitch. Good riddance. Yeah.
And the governor of Texas at the time, good old W, strategic terrorism.
Kill that goddamn bitch.
Kill that bitch. Make her fry.
Hey, Jeffrey Epstein, come over here. Watch this bitch die. This is gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be some wild stuff.
How'd they kill her? Because wasn't Texas just hanging people back in the day?
No, she got lethal injection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, fuck that chick. What a crazy bitch. You don't hear about this too much.
Yeah.
Fucking natural born killer shit.
Her last meal, she requested a banana, a peach, and a garden salad with ranch dressing.
Bitch.
But all she got was his dick to eat. I need to stop smoking before we record.
I mean, it makes me more subdued, but it seems like it just unleashes the beast for you, man. Just take it easy.
Just
Stop
get
hitting that
goofy.
blunt.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me, Steve. Don't listen to me. Stop. Don't hit the blunt. What am I saying? What am I saying?
Well, man, any callbacks, honorable mentions, or takeaways?
I just want to call back because I was going to do it now, but we talked about it a little bit. But just everybody, if you are not aware of the Jerky Boys, go back, listen to it. It is fucking hilarious. Prank phone calls, maybe they still happen, but in the 90s, this shit was everywhere. And there was nothing more fun than having a couple buddies, dialing a random number in Perrysburg and saying some crazy shit. And maybe you get caught. Maybe somebody star 69s you. Maybe not, but it was fun.
Star 69, man. Can we still do that? Is that Star 67 still?
Star 67, I think, still works. Like if you do that on your cell phone, it'll come up as like unknown or some shit. But that I remember finding that out because there were a couple times where me and my buddies did a prank phone call and were Star 69 and the people were pissed. So they just keep calling your house. So inevitably you'd get caught. But Star 67, once I found that out, it was like, oh shit, here we go.
You say less.
What about you?
Dude, I'm surprised you did not mention 1994. Frasier, the show where Lilith comes back. I don't know. It
happens a lot, Steve. There's a Lilith episode we're going to talk about whenever, in some way. I don't know if it's going to happen that we're going to get to like put it on a list, but she fucks Niles and Frasier walks in on it, and it may be one of the greatest episodes of comedy TV of all time. So we will discuss, but that one, it's okay. It's not.
Well, I know she's going to come back. That's her baby daddy. But I thought this was the first time within the Frasier universe that she returns. To me, I don't know.
Maybe, but Lilith, I mean, we've talked about her, and you're right. She is she's a big name just in TV history because she was in Cheers too, I believe.
Cheers, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, but that cold bitch, she'll be back, Steve. She'll be back.
Like nerdy looking women with the glasses. I don't know, man. Call me weird, call me stupid, call me collect, but I just said it does something.
You enjoying it, Steve? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, man. Little Sarah Palin. I mean, hey, man, it's and keep them glasses on. Well, don't you know? I like that shit.
He wants to fuck a librarian or some shit.
Tanya, get some glasses. Tina Fey. I like. But anyways, man, in 1990, Amen. They're airing the episode The Wedding, and this was a big deal for that show because the show was mostly about Velma, played by Anne Marie Horsford, and her following around the Reverend and just having this huge crush on Reverend. And Thelma, she was Sherman Hemsley's character's daughter. And that was a big storyline. It's kind of like how Urkel was always for Laura. So 1990, February 3rd, they finally get married, and this was I believe the last season or second to last season. But also, kids, remember, you can never talk your way into pussy. You can only talk your way out. Right when you think you need only 2 more steps, no, stop. You're there. Let her do the rest of the work, man. Don't get up and try to set the mood with your fucking lava lamps. Don't turn on no fucking smooth music or nothing. Nah, dude. The only music should be this.
You're right, Steve. And I mean, I feel like, can we get the more you know little theme song? I mean, that's advice that a young me could have dearly used, because I experienced the heartbreak. But yeah, guys, if you're in there, if somebody's waving you in, if you're going right into the terminal and you're lined up, there's no need. Don't try to do a Fast and Furious move into the pussy. Just to go in.
I'm gonna put some cologne on my dick. No, dude, stay right there. No, dude. Only thing that should be on there is her vagina.
You hear that, Doogie? Man. You hear that? You son of a bitch. But I mean, we've all been there, Steve. The pain Doogie felt. There's going to be kids 100 years from now going through that same thing. Like, why did I do that TikTok love song video? Why? Could have just fucked.
Yeah, that's why your OGs, Uncle Steve, Uncle Matt are here. We're here for the babies.
Love the kids.
Love the kids. Now, please make sure you check out Over the Culture as well. Crushgasm every Wednesday, B3F podcast, and Don't Worry, B Movies. This is Steve G and Matt G with Happen in the 90s.